going to do is we're going to start to work on the sides and a little bit on the back. So let's take this guy and let's go ahead and do that. We're going to have to work on the back part over here. and start getting this done. So this is going to be pretty simple. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick this edge right here. And then I'm going to alt and click this edge over here so it picks all those all the way around. And then I'm going to go ahead and shift select this edge right there. Okay, so now I got all these edges. I'm just going to right click, go to split edges with split control, and move this edge to about, let's say, something like should be maybe something like this, perhaps. Yeah, I think something like that's gonna work out just great. Okay. Alright. So now that I have that split done, what I need to do is make another split. So let's go ahead and let's do that. So I'm going to take this edge right there and I'm going to alt click this edge here, and it should select all the edges from here down to the back up to this edge down here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Shift D to split it, and I'm going to split it twice. Then I'm going to select Alt middle click and then Shift Alt middle click while holding down Shift to select both of those ranges of edges right there. And I'm going to take my scale tool. I'm going to make sure COG is activated, and I'm going to scale this in the X-axis until it gets out here to the edges to about here. Looks pretty good. Actually, maybe bring it in a little bit more, like it's going to work out just fine. So maybe something like this, or whatever. That looks like it'll work. Okay. So now that I have that done, what I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to select, go to polygon mode, select these polygons back here, and it's pretty simple. Just going to hit Control D, go to global mode, and extrude it out just a little bit, not too much, just a little tiny bit, just to make the lip of the metal right there. Okay. All right. Once I do that, I'm ready to start to strip this up into panels, into its separate panel pieces. So I'm going to select this polygon here, and I'm going to select these right there, and I guess I'll select that one as well, since that one is part of this object. And yeah, I'm just going to go with those. Alright, so this is going to be a separate panel like it is in real life. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to extract polygons, I'm going to delete the originals, and I'm going to freeze modeling. And there we go, that's going to be a separate piece. Actually use a technique that's going to allow us to do that very quick and very easy. So I'm going to split this a couple of times. And I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to grab this and move this over as well. And I'm going to take these two and I'm going to split these a couple of times. And just move this. And I'm going to go into a side view here. And like the other time, I'm going to go ahead and create a perfect square out of this. I want it to be perfect square, and that's 4 and 4. Yes, that is a perfect square. Okay. Now I'm going to take all these guys right here, and this is going to be pretty simple. All I have to do is hit Shift D on this polygon to go ahead and subdivide it. This is the subdivision operation, and you can find it over here if you go to Modify Polymesh. You'll find Subdivide somewhere in here. Here it is. Subdivide polygons or edges, and Shift D is the shortcut. So there you go. And I'm gonna make about this many subdivisions. Looks like, actually no, I'm gonna make less. Let me make this many subdivisions. And now with all of these polygons selected, all I have to do is right click, inset the polys, then I'm going to go to my extrude over here options, and I'm going to take merge off, and I can inset as much or as little as I like, so I can make these sort of little holes here, which is exactly what I'm going to do. And I can make them as big or as small as I like. It really is up to you. Okay, so I'm going to make them about this size. You can make them whatever size you want to. And then I'm going to hit Control D to extrude them in just a bit. Doesn't have to be too much. Okay, so I'm going to bring them in maybe about this much will be fine. And now I'm going to take this guy, and let me go to my top view here. I'm going to go to edge mode. I'm going to make sure that I select all these edges on the inside of these little squares here. I'm going to make sure I pick all of those. So I basically got all of these edges, see that? Now I'm just going to right click, I'm going to bevel. I'm going to bevel a good amount to give it a kind of round opening. It's going to be kind of a round slash squarish opening right there. Okay. So it's going to be something like this is going to look just fine, and you can give it more distance if you want to make it a bit rounder. And I think that's actually going to work pretty good. So something like that will work out just fine. And now what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to close that. I'm going to go to polygon mode, and hopefully you should still have these polygons selected. I'm going to delete them to punch the hole in there to make the hole for this little grill, for this grill object, so to speak. And if I don't like the position of where these holes are at, I can always grab all of them and move them globally with COG turned on, and just move them off to the side or anywhere I want. I can even move them down here if I want, which I actually like it down here better. I'm going to put it down here instead. Okay. Now grip sort of piece that's going to go here. So let's go ahead and let's do that. So that's going to be pretty simple to do actually. I'm simply going to go in here, grab these two edges right here, and Shift D to just split them down the middle. I'm going to do that twice. I'm going to go into my side view and make sure that they're perfectly straight, and they are, so that's good. And let me see, I'm going to take this edge, I'm going to push this one inward. And what I'm going to do is, here, this is what I'm going to do. Let's get this perfectly straight. So, again, hold down Control with the tweak tool and tweak this out, get it into position. It's just going to be something like this. And let's actually grab the whole thing and pull it back more. So it'll be about here. And let's take this whole thing and let's actually extrude it in, and we're actually going to be insetting this like so and pushing it inward like this. Okay, let's take all of these edges here, let's bevel them. So we'll do a good distance, we'll give it some rounding. So a distance like this actually looks pretty good. And maybe I went too far with that right there. I'll pull it back in a little bit. And now to get rid of this nasty shading right here is actually really simple. All we have to do is take these top edges up here and simply mark them as being hard, and that'll get rid of that nasty shading we had right there. I'm going to get rid of this nasty shading. We'll take all of these edges here, and we can go ahead and mark those as being hard as well. So now we end up with something like this. And we can't see, obviously, we don't have a light, so don't worry about that for now. Important, it's looking pretty good. We'll keep it like that. So there we go, we got that done. Alright. Now that that's finished, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that shape to the other side. So I'm going to take these polygons, basically the same ones we chose from the other side. I'm going to take them, and I'm just going to go ahead and delete those. So I removed the panel on the other side, so to speak. I'm going to take these here, and I'm going to have to make a few modifications here. And I made a mistake earlier. I forgot to pick this polygon right here and make it a part of this object. But that's okay, we can actually fix that very easily. I'll select that polygon. I'm going to right click on the polygon. I'm going to extract and delete the old one. Okay. Freeze modeling. I'm going to take these two, alt right click, and I'm going to hit merge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the original. And now I'm simply going to increase this tolerance to a very small amount until it sticks. And I can tell it's stuck because the blue boundaries went away and now they became white. And that tells me that it became a single object, which is good. So that tolerance is good right there. Now I'm going to delete the original. And I'm going to freeze modeling on this guy. And there we go. It's really cool how we could see through those little holes right there, just like the real thing. Alright, so now that that's finished, I can actually come in here and bevel some of this stuff out. But I'm not going to do that just right now. Here's what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to take, what you see is I'm going to take these two edges right there. And I'm going to subdivide them. It's getting very hard to see those subdivisions, but you can see them right there. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's 4. That's perfect. So I want to subdivide this 5 times. And now this is going to be pretty simple. Let me go into a front view here. I'm going to go to point mode. I'm going to grab these points here. And I'll move them up. I'm going to grab these points and I'm going to move to about here. I'm going to grab these. I'm going to move them up to maybe here or here. Really doesn't matter. And I'm going to grab these and move them up real close to it. And now what I can do is select these, and then the next one's up, these right there. Let me show you what I'm up to here. And with those selected, I can push them in like this. I can sort of create this different kind of shape back there for the panel, which is kind of cool. Okay. Actually, I'm pretty much done with the side panel here. All I'm going to do is take all of the, let me go to the side view here. I'm going to take all the top vertices and I'm going to move them down a little bit to create sort of a gap right there, a hole, little hole, not too big, pretty small. So something pretty small like that is going to work out just fine. Alright, so let me freeze modeling on that. And I'm pretty much done with the side panel. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's go ahead and alt right click, let's symmetrize it. And what we can do is we can use this offset parameter to offset its position. So that's, well, that's exactly what we're going to do. Offset it. So let me go into a front view here. I can see where this one is and where this one right here needs to be. So let's go ahead and offset that. Holding on shift gives you a lot of control, so you can offset it to where it needs to be. So something like that is good. And there we go, problem fixed. Now I don't want this vent on the other side because only this side should have the vent, this side shouldn't. So I'm gonna fix that right now. And the way I'm gonna fix that is pretty simple. I'm going to wireframe. I'm going to hit Y so I can select all of these polygons right in there. And I'm going to delete them. Okay. And now with them deleted, there's several ways that I can clear this gap. I can collapse it on itself, but I'm just going to go ahead and actually I need to, you know what? Let's just go ahead and collapse this. Hit Control D, Delete D to collapse them. And then we'll just rebuild a new polygon right there. Okay. So there we go. Now we only have that handle. We have the little handle piece on both sides, but the vents are only on one side now, which is exactly, it's a bit more variation. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab these vertices here, and I'm going to move them down like this. I'm going to deselect those, and I'm going to move these down like that, just to give it some variation so it's not. Okay, now that we got the side panels finished, I'm going to end that here, and in the next video we're going to start working on the actual back part of this computer.